All right, guys, happy Sunday. I wanted to talk to you really quickly. I know everybody's pretty busy for the holidays and different things coming up, but I wanted to talk to you really quickly about something that I was listening to this week on a podcast, and it was a concept. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my chair. It was a concept that I was hearing that it was a man talking about easy hard or hard easy. And the concept was really about our health and putting the time and energy and putting in the hard things now, like maybe getting up and going to work out when you don't feel like it, or maybe cooking at home, taking up more time rather than running through the drive-through for, fast food. So like staying at home for a healthier option. Those might be hard things now, but they're going to be things. If you're making harder choices, they're going to be things that are going to help create an easier future for your health because you're doing all of the right things now, building your immune system up, building your body up. So choosing easy now could create harder health in the future. So I was thinking about this and I wanted to apply the same idea to our Plexus business. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it because it's really good and really easy to hear some of these things. So these are things that I still experience, that I still face a lot, which you might do as well. But we can either choose the easy or choose the hard. And so here are some examples of easy decisions day to day. It's easy to say that I don't have time to do IPA today. It's also really easy to not be consistent with social media. It's easy to not pick up the phone when you have that person that you know if you got them on the phone that you could help them place their order through, or that you can help talk to them and really help them understand why these products would be so good for their health. It's easy to say, I don't want to call this person because I feel like I'm going to bother them. And maybe it's easier to just shoot them a text or not reach out to them at all. It's also really easy to make excuses for other people. And I know that sometimes I am guilty. Still in this business, almost 5 years in, I find myself making decisions for other people, which totally isn't fair to that person. So what I mean by that is I get caught up in that sometimes. And maybe you felt that way as well. Like my friend Jen, maybe I'll tell myself, my friend Jen doesn't need these products because maybe she doesn't have the financial income right now to take them, or maybe I shouldn't reach out to her right now because she's having a really busy week, or she probably doesn't need these products. These are things that we can create. And we're almost, we're creating an answer or making ourselves talk ourselves out of reaching out to these people. So making excuses for someone is definitely not the answer. And again, it's not fair to make those decisions for somebody else. Our job is to share the opportunity and share the products with other people. And it's up to them to choose the right timing when it's right for them, not when we think it's right for them, right? So that is something that I feel like a lot of us maybe get caught up into. It's really easy to fall into that trap. It's really easy to make excuses not to pick up the phone and why we shouldn't reach out. We can also make excuses why we aren't good at this business, those lies that we tell ourselves, and why this isn't going to work for us. That's another lie that we tell ourselves. We can do that so easy, and the fact that it's so easy to do, that's really what stinks, right? So we have this human nature of where the voice in our head can be super negative, and being negative is easy. Getting frustrated is easy. Riding that up and down roller coaster is easy. So you might have that feeling where you have, you just started out and people are excited to see your posts, or you have a new customer and you're like, yay, this is so amazing. Like everything, you feel like is really aligning well. And then maybe that customer, their first order doesn't go through, or their credit card's declined, or they're having IT issues, whatever it is, or they don't like the taste of Plexus Slim, whatever that is. It's easy to jump on that roller coaster and ride that all the way downhill. That's really easy to do as well. So those are the easy things. But if you do all of those easy things, if you choose not to do your IPA, if you choose not to reach out, you aren't picking up the phone, that is when your journey becomes really, really hard in the future. Because let's say when like Plexus does an incredible special, or they have a joining fee code to take away that fee, anything like that, you will have no one in your funnel to reach out to. At least that's what you're telling yourself, or that's really like kind of what your reality is. And no one's sitting on the fence, because those easy things of us not doing what the hard things are creates it to be harder for us in the future. So even like when you're trying to push for a promotion, maybe you feel lonely. Maybe you feel like you're doing it by yourself. You're trying to squeeze those points out by yourself because you don't have maybe a team to work with. I think that doing the easy things and also posting on social media, but not doing, the private reach outs, we're left with a really hard reality. And this business can feel really hard. But let's go back to doing those hard things, doing those things that you have to do day by day to do the consistency, to do those hard things, being consistent in your IPA, being consistent in your social media, being consistent, showing up every single day with that excitement and doing those reach outs, but also taking it seriously enough to allow yourself to dream about what it could be. Sometimes that's really hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to have this journey and know without a doubt that you will be a diamond. I know I hear that a lot from a lot of people. And I know that especially if your own timeline, if you're not reaching goals in the way that you feel like you should be, that becomes really hard to allow yourself to dream big. It's hard to do because the day-to-day stuff sometimes feels like it's never going to happen. But I want you to do the hard thing, and I want you to believe. I want you to start that personal growth journey, or continue it, or pick it back up with wherever you are. You guys, personal growth is hard stuff. It's super hard. Those of us that are in Jen Hawkins' book club right now, The Secret Code of Success, it's hard and it's deep and it gets you down to the core. But it's worth it. And also, not getting off that roller coaster is one of the hardest things that you're ever going to do in this business, in this journey. So like, what do I mean by that? Like, to stay even keeled, regardless if everything is going amazing or if everything is crashing down. I still know that I am going to be a diamond through it all. And I know that you're going to be a diamond through it all. And I know that we are going to get there. I know that I'm going to pick up the phone and keep helping that next person get their order in. I know that I'm going to schedule an event. I know that I'm going to do these things, even if no one shows up to the event. You guys might not know my personal rule for having an event or having an online opportunity meeting, but more along the lines like the in-person events. Even if no one shows up, or if somebody cancels last minute, still have the event. Because whatever happens, that event is supposed to happen. Even if you have one person show up, that's because you were meant to have that one-on-one time, that one-on-one conversation with that particular person. And I've had events where, we've had standing room only. We've done those in St. Louis where there's literally no seats left. And I've had other events where Carly and I did an event together where we had like one person show up. And instead of saying like, oh my gosh, well, there's just one person, guess what? Most amazing conversations happen with even smaller, intimate groups, and you're left feeling like it was exactly the way that it was supposed to happen. Rescheduling can happen, but never cancel any event. So sorry, that was a total side note. But staying off of the roller coaster is very hard to do day by day. And I want you to see, if you do the hard things day to day, then the journey becomes easier in the future. So when you do the hard things day by day, you're going to have a full funnel. And when a special or signing code comes out of Plexus, you know exactly what you're going to do with it. And then you have this team working, and that's really where it becomes, starts to become easier. And I want you guys to understand something, that when you have a team, when you're doing consistent hard work and growing a team, you are no longer just adding ambassadors. And I want you to grasp that. because you are no longer adding, you are multiplying. You want to get to that point where you aren't just adding level ones, but your level ones are adding level ones, and their level ones are adding level ones. And it's just kind of that trickle down effect. And you guys, that's where the fun stuff starts to become easier. The trips, the Plexus corporate, the fun, fluffy trips, the incentives, that's where it becomes easier as you have this team growing. And also the energy of the momentum. Like when you're doing day-to-day things, it's inevitable that momentum is going to hit. And I think that a lot of times we are so prone to quit right before that happens. Like we feel like we're doing all of the hard things, and then we quit, and then we slide all the way back into doing the easy things, which is not doing anything. And the momentum will not hit if we're not doing those day-to-day hard things. So it's kind of like a catch-22. But when you are showing the emotional maturity of doing those hard things day by day, the most incredible personal growth happens. And it comes from learning to not ride on that roller coaster. And when you are doing that day-to-day, you inevitably become a stronger leader. So it becomes easier to be that steadfast growing leader when you're doing those day-to-day hard things. And that's what your team is seeing. And the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. And you're going to have people who are going to want to copy what it is that you're doing and to help mimic what it is that you're doing to help them grow as well. So there is this emotional maturity that grows as you are doing those hard things day by day. So I hope this gives you a little bit of understanding that it's easy to fall back into the easy way to go. And I want you to hear me on this, because you're not always going to stay in the hard things. We would burn ourselves out. We would become emotionally exhausted, and it wouldn't be fun. But it sometimes can feel impossible to do those hard things day in and day out. And you can slip back into those easy, I'm not going to do this today. I'm going to shut everything off today. But remembering this concept, I hope will get you back into the habit of doing those hard things day by day to create the easier journey ahead for you. So it's a really good lesson no matter where you are in your business. And I think that I'm also preaching to myself tonight, just as much as I preach to you, because the hard stuff is going to get you to the easiest place eventually. And so that's kind of the whole concept around easy versus hard, hard versus easy. So I know this was a pretty quick, short 16 minutes. I promised it would be under 15, but hopefully you guys got a little bit out of this message. And let's do these hard things together. Let's figure out exactly what that hard looks like and put our minds to it and focus and see where we can go, rather than sliding back down that roller coaster into the easy things, because that's where the momentum stops, and that's where those things are going to come up. And you're going to notice that it's just easier to be negative, or easier to tell yourself that you can't do this, when I know that you can. And when you do those hard things, you're going to know that you can as well. So I really appreciate you guys listening and jumping on, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. All right, guys.